Hi. Here's stuff from the fourth and final full week of April 2026, give or take a day. I did manage to complete the Tres Picos puzzle, which is a Salvador Dali painting, and the assembly video has been uploaded, so you've probably already seen that. And of course, now it's been disassembled and boxed, and I've started on the Frankenstein Manor puzzle that I purchased at uh, Darkmoor, or in the Darkmoor Village in Universal's Epic Universe. I even have my Burning Blade Tavern commemorative glass that I bought my. What did they call it? It wasn't maybe it was called a Lagunita, but it was kind of like a Black Lagoon themed margarita drink, and that was a lot of fun. So that was the puzzles. Reading wise, I thought I would actually finish and have a review ready for the Agatha Christie novel Ordeal by Innocence, which I started last week. But I went into a reading drought because of life and a lot of stuff going on that had to deal with. So my mind just went and said, "No, you're not going to be able to focus on reading. Just work on, like, Wordle and whatnot. You're not going to be able to do anything else." And I'm like, all right, whatever. I did see, or I remember watching the Canon film adaptation that was released. Well, IMDb says 84, but it was released theatrically in the San Francisco Bay Area in I think November of 85. And I saw it on home video in 85 or 86. And I thought the movie was okay. The real distracting thing about it was that they got rid of a really excellent Pino Donaggio score and replaced it with music by Dave Brubeck, which was really anachronistic. It didn't fit with the look and feel of the picture at all. But I'm enjoying strolling through this, and it evidently was one of her personal favorite novels, because they listed on the back here her personal favorite novels, or her personal favorites were The Murder of Roger Ackroyd, Murder on the Orient Express, The Moving Finger, and then there were none, Towards Zero, Crooked House, A Murder is Announced, Ordeal by Innocence, Endless Night, and Miss Marple, the complete short stories. So if you wanted to read what her favorite books of her own were, what she liked, this is one of them. And it doesn't feature Poirot or Marple or any of the other Tommy and Tuppence or any of the other characters that she had. But this is a very it was also, I believe, atypical for what she was doing, because it has multiple viewpoints, and the mystery is a little bit atypical. It was criticized at the time of release, I believe. This is anecdotal, so take it with a grain of salt, or a block of salt, that it was more like psychological fiction than it was murder mystery. But this is a great example, or at least the film adaptation. I doubt that they're going to change much, but if you don't want some of the stories of Agatha Christie spoiled for you, I'm going to put up an image from the cover, and it'll be up while I share this, and then it'll go down, so you can scrub past it if you wish. But I read a comment once about Christie. That was about 20 years ago on a message board where they said, she had a format that was, and paraphrasing here because I can't get it, was that she would have a murder take place. There would be the obvious suspect. She would then spend the next 200 pages convincing you how that obvious suspect could not have possibly committed. There was no way he could have committed, or she. This person could not have committed the crime. They were not. And there's all these other suspects. Go through all this. And then the big reveal at the end, the big twist is, yes, the obvious suspect did it, and this is how they did it. So, which is, no lie detected. I mean, I've seen some, Christie stories that go like, but I'm enjoying this immensely, and I'm going through. I had been going through Agatha Christie in publication order, but this book came up, and I was like, I'm going to read it because I want to read it. Because reading them in publication order is arbitrary and just not necessary. Trail camera. Our trail camera has been capturing deer and raccoons of late, and it appears that the deer in the area have decided that the open space adjacent to our backyard makes for a wonderful bathroom. So there you have it. Travel-wise, we took a walk behind Fololi House this time. There's a little trail up around the Rose Wonders Troll, and it's about maybe about 30-minute walk, maybe, but it's very nice, very pleasant, and I did a little video of it, which I will share here. All right, moving on, viewing-wise. Last week, I talked about Charles Band because I just finished his book, Confessions of a Puppet Master. And during that time, I shared a personal anecdote about watching the movie Craw, the Sea Monster, with my son back in 1998 or 1999, and just having a blast with that movie. We watched it I think we watched it 2 or 3 times back to back on the same day. We would watch it, then just rewind the VHS, and then watch it again. And I had mentioned that I had wanted to watch a Charles Band production after finishing the book, that I was wanting to watch, being a one-time full moon fanatic, and I was just want to do that, and I looked on streaming services that we have, and lo and behold, Craw, the Sea Monster, was available on Amazon Prime. So I watched it, and I was amazed and amused that it was pretty much as I remembered it. It's a dumb and goofy movie that really does have the look, feel of a Mighty Morphin Power Rangers episode. The acting in it ranges from wooden to tolerable. But you know, it's got a it's got a shellfish alien with an Italian accent, and it's got a pretty cool giant monster suit, and it's just, I mean, I don't think it'll ever be anybody's, this is probably, to me, the qualification that meets when you talk about guilty pleasure. I don't really feel any guilt. It's a real, but it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, if you love this kind of stuff, you're gonna love it. If you don't, man, you're just gonna be like, dude, you wasted 70 minutes of your life watching that. And I'm like, yes. And having talked about it, I might waste that 70 minutes again and watch it again because I love me my giant monsters. It is a fun, unapologetic love letter to that kind of movie. And if you grew up watching it, I find it difficult to think that somebody could actually hate it, but I'm sure there'll be people out there that watch it and hate it. That's fine. Speaking of stuff that triggered nostalgia, I also, after having it slip through the cracks, I finally caught up with Deathstalker, the remake or reimagining of the low-budget Roger Corman franchise of the mid-'80s. While, it's clear that, the movie that gets the most referencing here is Deathstalker 2. They actually use Chuck Cyrano's theme for the film. And at a moment that really had me chuckling, they actually used some stock footage from Deathstalker 2. Or maybe it was from Deathstalker. It's hard to tell with Roger Corman movies like this. But I was like, oh my God, that's Deathstalker 2. They're actually having a flashback to another battle. And it was like, which just made it all the more endearing. I think one of the reasons why I put it off was because I really wanted to like Psycho Gorman. I really did. But it is a far meaner and nastier movie than I went in thinking it would be. And what I was delighted about here was that the element of warmth that I felt was missing from Psycho Gorman was here in Deathstalker full throttle and amply displayed. So there is a lot of just, for me, it struck the balance between being gnarly and nice. It just right down, that sweet spot. And it is a really, really fun throwback to 80s schlock filled with men in suits and practical effects and over-the-top gore. And just, yeah, if you watch the Deathstalker movies, if you watch any of these movies, I mean, I knew I was going to like this movie, or there was a very big chance of me liking this movie. When in the trailer it was revealed that Deathstalker is going to be wielding a sword, not unlike that was in The Sword and the Sorcerer. I mean, when I saw that, I was like, ah! So yeah, anybody that grew up or loves this kind of stuff, I think it's going to be difficult for them to really kind of dislike Deathstalker. It's the Deathstalker movies with a whole lot of Sam Raimi tossed in, like Hercules, Xena, tossed in, and yeah, I recommend it unreservedly. Yeah. The third movie we watched, and it was a good choice because I've been reading Agatha Christie, so I'm obviously on a mystery kick right now. But we watched Wake Up, Dead Man, the third Benoit Blanc or Knives Out mystery, and uh, this I thought was a pretty good return to form. While I did not think that Glass Onion was all that bad, um, I did feel like it was a weaker film than Knives Out, and Wake Up Dead Man really does feel like a return to form, and it was a nice, and like the very first film, it had a nice sense of cozy atmosphere to it, and offered a really cool, challenging mystery that had a great payoff, and yeah, I would recommend this one every bit as much as I recommend the first one. And I'd recommend the second one, but just understand that it's lacking uh, a sympathetic character, and that both Knives Out and Wake Up Dead Man had a sympathetic character in it, and I think Glass Onion was kind of missing that. It didn't quite connect as well as the other two films, and like a great many other people have been saying, I'd watch another Benoit Blanc movie. I've gotten, it's a great throwback or a return to the kind of gather together a whole bunch of character actors and stars and have them in a mystery that's solved by a detective that shows up in other people's stories, and yeah, and it's just fun. And that was the stuff, more or less, give or take a day. So now I'm gonna have us jump into the Wayback Machine for some vintage newspaper ads from dates that are concurrent with those of the work week of April 20th, Monday, April 20th through Friday, April 24th. So let's strap in and see where we go. Where do we stop first? Oh, here we go. April 20th, 1984. And a re-release of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre starts today. Yeah, this, although it had been on home video for a few years, thanks to Charles Band, there's that guy again, his Wizard Home Video label, which was the release that I saw. It was later released or re-released by Media Home Entertainment. But New Line Cinema was able to grab the movie and dust it off and re-release it theatrically. This was actually the second re-release. They had also done a re-release in 1982, and an ad for that will pop up at some point. But at that point they had re-released it on a double bill with the 1976, I think it was, movie Massacre at Central High, which is actually a pretty decent little movie. Tagging along with this re-release, though, was the surreal melding of Alien with Kramer versus Kramer that was Extro. Although the newspaper ad here, if you look close, spells it EXTRO as opposed to XTRO. So it goes. All right, now we're gonna zip back 60 years to April 20th, 1924, and here we have an ad for the serialization of Kathleen Norris's novel Butterfly, which will begin on Sunday, May 4th, in 1924. Yeah, I don't know much about this book, and unfortunately I neglected to do any research on it other than what you see here, so excuse me. I should. Um, I'll do better next time. Have a little info about the novel Butterfly. Okay, we're going to zip forward about 48 years? No, no, not 40. 52 years to April 20. I told you I don't math well. 52 years. We're going to go to April 21st, 1976. And the final anthology film from Amicus Productions, From Beyond the Grave, starts today. Although it had been released first, I think, in 1974, but I guess it crossed the pond and was released in scattershot fashion. And in the San Francisco Bay Area, it opened April 21st, 1976. Although whether or not this is actually a re-release or not, I don't know. But as I started off, this is the final anthology film from Amicus Productions. And it ended, I think, the cycle on quite the high note. Although the film's source material was a selection of stories by the famed fantasist R. Chetwynd Hayes, the thematic core of moral retribution for wrongdoing, lying, cheating, stealing, all manner of nefarious stuff, makes it feel like a continuation of the EC horror comic adaptations, which preceded it, which were Tales from the Crypt and Vault of Horror. But I think that this film was actually superior to those two. It's a lot of fun, and it's got some great stories with some great twists, and it's probably my favorite anthology movie of Amicus, or my pick, maybe not my favorite, my pick for the best. I really think this was a really, really good one. And although Milton Subotsky would attempt to do another adaptation of our Chetwynd Hayes stories with I think it was 1981's anthology, The Monster Club, it didn't work anywhere as well as this film did. And it's a delight, well worth seeking out. And yeah. So we're going to shoot back 54 years, it looks like, and to April 21st, 1922. And Paul Elder's bookstore or retailer is selling the new novel from Gertrude Atherton, titled Sleeping Fires. Now, cursory search, which I did this time, informed me that this novel was set in what looks to be 1860s or 1870s San Francisco, and offered a somewhat realistic depiction of the city's upper class in the post-Civil War United States. I also learned that Atherton was not only was a prolific writer, and like a great many female writers of her generation, was also a feminist and a suffragist. So that's another writer that I may have to track down and read at some point. Now I'm going to shoot forward 57 years to, and this is another book ad, April 22nd, 1979, and B. Dalton Bookseller is selling Peter Straub's fourth published novel and his third involving the supernatural, and which was Ghost Story. And this is the one that really put him on the pop culture map. I would not read the book from start to finish until I think 1981 or thereabouts. I think I had managed to read the book, finally from beginning to end before the film adaptation came out. And I didn't see the movie until it was on HBO. But this was a big bestseller for pocketbooks, and I don't think it has ever been out of print. In fact, there was back when he was alive, because he wouldn't be doing it now that he's passed. And when I was on Twitter or something, there was somebody that had published one of those, rare horror novels that, are worth reading. And they had included Ghost Story on that thing. And Straub took umbrage at that. He goes, rare? The book has never been out of print since 1980. It's still in print. That's not rare. That doesn't meet any kind of qualification for rare. So, but it's a good book, and well worth reading if you haven't read it. And we're going to go back, it looks like 54 years, to April 22nd, 1925. And we have an ad here for the May 1925 issue of Pictorial Review magazine, which will have, hey, it's Gertrude Atherton again. The serialization of her new novel, The Crystal Cup, which tells the tale of a 22-year-old girl that comes into possession of an old manor and a husband by courtesy. So one of those arranged marriages of convenience and everything. Will she fall in love with this man or not? So it looks to be a romance with a touch of gothic to it, perhaps. I don't know. Do you? We're going to shoot forward, 56 years to April 23rd, 1981. And Frank LaLogia's Fear No Evil starts tomorrow. And I remember seeing a TV spot for this, as well as a snippet from the infamous Killer Dodgeball scene that was played just before a promotional interview with writer-director Frank LaLogia that ran on Creature Features. But I don't think I saw the film until it was either on home video or home box office. I don't remember which. And it's an interesting, entertaining oddity that really, needs to be seen to be believed. All right, we're going to shoot back in time now. It looks like 55 years, maybe, to April 23rd, 1926. And the Literary Digest offers a summation of the arguments of the WETs, or anti-prohibition, or anti-prohibition enforcement, that argued that it would be a tragic failure. The Dries, who were pro-prohibition, had yet to make their arguments, but as history has shown, that the WETs were correct. Prohibition was a tragic failure, and any look at your local grocery store, or Bev, what's the place? Bev to go? Bev go? I don't know. It doesn't matter. Anyway, we're going to shoot forward now 49 years, it looks, to April 24th, 1975. And we have here an ad from Signet for two books that are currently on the bestseller list or selling well, or they want to sell well. One is Carrie by Stephen King, and the other is The Swarm by Arthur Herzog. And finding an ad like this is why I do this. Because Carrie and The Swarm were two seminal movies of my youth. And finding this ad was just a pleasant, almost actually chuckle-inducing delight. I don't remember seeing either of these particular editions on bookshelves at this particular time, because I would have been 7 and not really all that attentive of what was in the bookstore shelves or the drugstore spinner racks at that particular time. But I do remember picking up one of these editions of The Swarm in a used bookstore in Berkeley, way back in the day. The two editions that I remember reading, actually read, English much good I speak, were the movie tie-in editions. In 1976, I was equal parts fascinated and frightened by the black and white stills in the center of the Carrie tie-in. And my interest or fascination with the film was fueled a lot by the fact that John Travolta was in it, because he was one of the beloved sweat hogs in the popular sitcom Welcome Back, Kotter, which I was watching at that time. I did not read Carrie. Let's see. I did not read Carrie until maybe 1979, maybe even 1980, probably closer to 1980. But over the early to mid 80s, I think I read it 2 or 3 times. And it was after I had seen the film's broadcast debut on network television, which was the first time that I saw Carrie. The Swarm was a movie that I was obsessed with in 1978, or at least for the first half of 1978 till it came out. And it was my birthday movie for that year. So it is a movie that lives in infamy in my family, my parents. My father went to his grave grumbling about having been forced to sit through that crappy movie. That and The Car, I think, actually left scars, psychological scars in it. And like a great many books of that time, I mean, I had a copy of the book, the tie-in, and I would look at like the movie stills in it. But like a great many books around that time, the late, it wasn't until 1979, when I was 11 or 12, that I really started reading. Like, I was able to read novels from beginning to end. It wasn't until 1980 where I became focused on reading books. So I tried, much like with Ghost Story and much like with other books, I tried reading The Swarm and just bounced off it after the first 2 or 3 chapters. But I did finally make it all the way through the book in, again, 1980 or 81. And while not a great book, it was a pretty good book and could have made for a pretty decent movie if the person making said movie had understood the kind of movie they were making, which had not been the case with Irwin Allen, obviously. So it goes. And now we're going to bop back 30 years to our final stop in the Wayback Machine, which is on April 24th, 1945. And an episode of Murder Will Out is airing on your local radio station. And I did not recognize this this program, but I did a little research, and according to a webpage or a website called the Old Time Radio Catalog, which I'll put a link to in the description, Murder Will Out was a San Francisco produced program, and one that was performed before a live studio audience, opposed to a dead one, I guess. 4 members of that audience, 2 men and 2 women, would be chosen to come up and sit at a table, I guess, with the scripts and everything, and follow the story, taking notes and whatnot. And prior to the actual revelation or resolution of the mystery would be revealed, these participants would be asked questions to see if they were able to spot particular clues or figure out who the killer or perpetrator was. And depending on which questions were asked and answered and whatnot, you could get a whole range of prizes, from like modest amounts of cash up to a commemorative framed gold detective certificate, which I would loved. I would love to have something like that hanging on my wall. That is so awesome. I also learned here that game show and murder mysteries seem to be a very popular format at that particular time. Evidently, Ellery Queen did this. but I was not aware of that. And like I said, I've put a link to the Murder Will Out page at the Old Time Radio catalog website in the description. You can click that link and check it out if you wish. I don't see what, if you're here, you're probably going to do it because you're here. But that's our final stop in the Wayback Machine. So please exit carefully after, taking off your seatbelt. And yeah, there we have it. Another week of stuff that's been packed and stacked. Which means it's time for me to get started on next week. So until then, let's all try and have some fun, okay? Bye!